The screen flickers to life, and something unexpected unfolds. Not the familiar cascade of complications that technology so often delivers, but something quieter, something almost unsettling in its simplicity. You sit there, fingers resting on the keyboard, eyes scanning a desktop environment that mirrors the interface you've navigated for 2 decades, and the emotion that rises isn't confusion or anxiety. It's relief. Pure, unanticipated relief. The kind that comes when you realize the barrier you've been dreading never actually existed. There's no steep learning curve demanding your attention, no labyrinth of unfamiliar menus forcing you to relearn basic tasks, just a clean, responsive system that feels like home. And then you begin to use it, really use it, and the relief deepens into something more profound. There are no advertisements embedded in your start menu. No artificial intelligence assistant inserted into your workflow without permission. No persistent notifications demanding you link a corporate account before you've accomplished a single task. No countdown timer reminding you that your hardware has been deemed obsolete by a distant corporation unless you purchase their latest offering. What you have is simply a computer. A fast, clean, obedient machine that executes your commands without editorial comment. The operating system powering this experience carries a name most people have never encountered: Zorin OS 18. And what transpired around this software in the closing months of 2025 tells a story far larger than the technical specifications of any single product. On October 14, 2025, the precise day Microsoft severed security support for Windows 10, Zorin OS unveiled its 18th major version. The synchronization was deliberate, calculated with precision over months of careful observation. The development team had been watching the calendar approach like meteorologists tracking an incoming storm. They understood that on that specific Tuesday, an estimated 240 million computers worldwide would find themselves stranded, cut off from security updates because their hardware failed to meet Windows 11's stringent requirements. They knew that hundreds of millions of users would wake up to a narrowing set of choices, each one carrying significant cost, either financial expenditure for new hardware, acceptance of an operating system they had resisted for years, or the mounting risk of running unprotected machines on an increasingly hostile internet. Zorin OS 18 launched into that exact moment of maximum vulnerability to present a fourth option. It was free. It ran on the hardware already sitting on desks and in offices around the world, and in many ways it resembled the Windows interface users had known for years more faithfully than Microsoft's own successor did. The response shattered every precedent in the history of desktop Linux. Within the first 5 weeks following launch, Zorin OS 18 was downloaded more than 1 million times. The analytics infrastructure maintained by the Zorin team, which tracks the originating operating system of each download request, revealed something extraordinary. 78% of those downloads originated from Windows machines. That statistic translates to more than 780,000 Windows users who, in the span of just over a month, actively sought an exit strategy, discovered Zorin OS, downloaded the installation media, and at minimum explored what the alternative looked like. By January 11, 2026, less than 3 months after the initial release, the download count had crossed 2 million, with approximately 75% still originating from Windows systems. The Zorin development team characterized it as the most significant release in their 17-year history. Tom's Hardware, a publication with decades of credibility in technology journalism, covered the numbers and published an observation that resonated across the industry. The traditional barriers that have kept users locked within the Windows ecosystem appear weaker than at any point since Windows 95 first established Microsoft's desktop dominance. Not weaker than 5 years ago, weaker than in 3 decades. To understand why Zorin OS specifically became the focal point of this migration, rather than Ubuntu, Fedora, or any of the dozens of other Linux distributions available, you need to grasp what makes it fundamentally different. And that difference sounds almost embarrassingly basic when articulated plainly. Zorin OS was designed, from its inaugural version in 2008, with one specific user profile in mind. Not the software developer who lives inside terminal windows, not the system administrator managing server infrastructure, not the open source purist who compiles custom kernels. Zorin OS was built for the person who simply wants their computer to function reliably, who after 15 or 20 years using Windows has developed a precise mental model of where interface elements should be and how interaction should flow. The taskbar belongs at the bottom. The application menu sits in the lower left corner. Right-clicking the desktop should produce familiar options. Files should behave predictably. The entire experience should feel intuitive, not experimental. Every major Linux distribution claims beginner friendliness. What distinguishes Zorin OS is that it substantiates that claim with a specific tool no other major distribution has integrated quite as comprehensively. It's called the Zorin Appearance Application. What this tool accomplishes is deceptively powerful. It presents in a single interface the ability to transform your entire desktop environment with a single click. There are layouts replicating Windows 10's visual language, layouts mirroring Windows 11, a layout that makes the system resemble Mac OS. a layout recreating the Windows 7 interface that many users still consider the most logical desktop environment Microsoft ever produced. No extensions to install, no configuration files to edit. You open one application, select one option, and the entire operating system reorganizes itself to match the visual environment from which you migrated. For someone already anxious about switching platforms, that single feature eliminates the most visceral source of fear, the terror of sitting down at an unfamiliar interface with no idea where anything is. The base version, Zorin OS Core, handles this for most users without requiring any payment. There's also Zorin OS Pro, available for a one-time payment of $39. Not a subscription, not an annual renewal, a single purchase that includes additional desktop layouts, an expanded collection of pre-installed software for creative and productivity work, and extended technical support. $39 once with future major version upgrades included. When compared to Microsoft's extended security update pricing, which charges $61 per device per year just to maintain security patches for Windows 10, doubling to $122 in the second year, the economics become stark. Zorin OS Pro costs less than a single year of clinging to an operating system its creator has abandoned. But perhaps the most consequential feature Zorin OS 18 delivers is something that sounds utterly mundane until you experience the alternative firsthand. Zorin OS 18 runs on the hardware you already own. No TPM 2.0 chip required. No secure boot requirement excluding systems manufactured before 2018. No minimum hardware threshold that silently declares 250 million perfectly functional computers obsolete. The official minimum requirements specify a dual-core processor, 2 GB of RAM, and 15 GB of storage. The recommended specifications, where the experience feels genuinely smooth and responsive, call for 4 GB of RAM and a dual-core processor running at 2 GHz or faster. A computer assembled in 2012 can meet those requirements. A machine purchased in 2014 or 2015, the one Windows 11 declared too old for service, can run Zorin OS 18 at full capability, receiving security updates and new features until at least June 2029. The same hardware sitting on your desk right now, still useful, still fast, still yours. One municipality, unidentified in official documentation but cited on Zorin's website, deployed Zorin OS across its public computing infrastructure and reported that the reduced hardware requirements alone would extend the operational life of those systems by 30 to 40%. Consider what that means at any meaningful scale, not replacing computers every 3 to 5 years on a Microsoft-mandated upgrade cycle, running existing functional machines for 3 to 4 additional years. Every institution making that calculation, every school district, municipal government, or small business with 20 workstations realizes tangible, calculable savings. And every computer that remains in service instead of being discarded represents a real measurable reduction in electronic waste. Before proceeding further, it's essential to address what Zorin OS is not, because honesty about limitations matters more than optimistic exaggeration. Zorin OS is not a perfect Windows replacement for every conceivable use case. Professional video editors relying on Adobe Premiere or After Effects will find those applications unavailable on Linux. While DaVinci Resolve runs natively on Linux and ranks among the most powerful video editing platforms available anywhere, the challenges of switching tools, relearning workflows, and managing project compatibility are genuine. Audio professionals working with specific Windows-exclusive digital audio workstations face similar obstacles. Developers dependent on the full Microsoft Visual Studio IDE, distinct from Visual Studio Code which runs natively on Linux, will need virtual machines or alternative tools. Corporate environments running custom Windows-only enterprise software require case-by-case compatibility evaluation. These limitations are real, and anyone who pretends otherwise sets new users up for disappointment. But here's what has fundamentally changed about the situation in 2026 compared to any previous moment in desktop Linux history. The population of users for whom those limitations are actually relevant is vastly smaller than the population who assumes they are relevant. Surveys and usage data consistently demonstrate that the overwhelming majority of personal computer use involves exactly the activities Zorin OS handles without compromise. Web browsing, document creation and editing, email, video streaming, social media, photo management, and increasingly gaming. The applications Linux cannot run represent real obstacles for specific professionals with specific workflows. They are not obstacles for the person who uses their computer to check email, write documents, watch YouTube, and occasionally play games from their Steam library. That person, who constitutes the vast majority of the Windows user base, will sit down at Zorin OS 18 and not notice what's missing because the things they actually use daily are all present and fully functional. Zorin OS, like virtually all Linux distributions, collects zero telemetry by default. None. When you use Windows 10 or Windows 11, your usage patterns, which applications you open, how long you use them, what you search for, how you navigate the system, what errors you encounter, all of this is transmitted back to Microsoft continuously. Microsoft labels this diagnostic data and frames it as essential for product improvement. Users who wish to reduce this collection can navigate privacy settings and disable some of it, but cannot disable all of it, particularly on Windows 11 Home. And many users remain completely unaware the collection is happening. When you use Zorin OS, nothing is reported anywhere. The Zorin team doesn't know how many active users they have beyond the download numbers they publicly share. They don't know which applications you use, where you're located geographically, or how many hours you spend at your computer each day. Your usage belongs to you alone. This isn't a feature highlighted on specification sheets or marketing materials because it's invisible by design. But for a growing number of people in 2026, it represents one of the most important things a computer can offer. Zorin OS 18 is built on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, the same Ubuntu long-term support release underpinning some of the most critical computing infrastructure on Earth. Ubuntu powers cloud servers running major financial platforms. It's the same family of Linux operating systems managing systems aboard the International Space Station. It's the foundation that 27% of the world's professional developers use as their primary daily operating system, according to the Stack Overflow 2025 Developer Survey. When you install Zorin OS 18, you're not running a hobbyist experiment. You're running a layer of polish and Windows-friendly design built atop one of the most battle-tested software foundations in computing history. Security patches and software updates flow from the Ubuntu base continuously. The Zorin team adds the interface, the tools, the Windows compatibility layer, and the beginner-focused design decisions on top. You receive both simultaneously, the rock-solid Ubuntu core and the accessible Zorin Surface. The support timeline Zorin OS 18 commits to compares extremely favorably to the situation Windows users have repeatedly encountered. Zorin OS 18 will receive security updates, software updates, and driver updates until at least June 2029. That represents a commitment of nearly 4 years from the October 2025 launch. During those 4 years, there exists no scenario where the Zorin team will announce your hardware is no longer supported and you must purchase new equipment. There's no subscription fee activating at the end of the free support period. There's no AI assistant added to your workflow without consent. The operating system you install today will receive support until 2029, running on the hardware you own today, with no additional cost and no mandatory hardware upgrade. What Zorin OS 18's numbers reveal: the 2 million downloads in 3 months, the 75% Windows origin rate, the timing synchronized with Windows 10's end of life, the coverage describing barriers at their lowest since Windows 95, is that the Linux desktop story has entered a new chapter. Not the chapter where technical users make the switch because they value open source principles. Not the chapter where developers migrate because Linux handles their development tools better. The new chapter is the one where ordinary people with no particular interest in technology sit down in front of a computer that has exhausted Microsoft's support, find a Linux distribution that resembles the system they've always used closely enough that the transition doesn't feel like a leap into the unknown, and discover on the other side something they didn't expect: a computer that is entirely theirs.